Mothers and others, we're down to our next candidate, and I'm so excited tonight to introduce you to our next candidate. So, our next candidate is also a friend of mine who is so sweet and so dear. And we met a long time ago at a rural caucus, and she was the sweetest thing. And she ran for office, and unfortunately, she didn't win, but she's running again. And I ran into her the first day of the ledge this year in the hallway at the Texas Capitol, and she said, "Nancy, I'm running again." And I just love her spirit. I just love everything about her. So I am so excited to introduce you all to Erin Shank. She is a candidate for Texas House District 56. She's running against incumbent Charles Doc Anderson. And Charles Doc Anderson, wait a minute, he's not running again. That is wrong. I know that. I was like, we've had a conversation about this. Doc Anderson decided that he was not going to run again. So this seat is up for grabs. And I just, let's hear from Erin what is going on. So Erin, tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're running for office, and maybe you can fill us in on what's going on with Doc Anderson.
Sure. Well, I'm Erin Shank, running for House District 56, which is Waco and McLennan County, although incredibly gerrymandered, a very, very difficult race to win for a Democrat. This is my second run. I ran last time against Doc Anderson in the race, and I lost. This was the race when Beto ran against Greg Abbott, and all us Democrats pretty much lost. But I like to think I had something to do with it. But Doc Anderson, after he won the Furniture Award for the third time from Texas Monthly, from being the least effective legislator in the Texas House, decided to retire. And I like to think I had something to do with it because I was very vocal. I was going to come after him again. So I like to say the first time I learned how to be a candidate, and now I'm learning how to win. I am really in this race to win. A little bit about myself. I'm a mom. That's my most important job. I have 3 precious kids, 2 very healthy boys, and a medically fragile little girl named Rachel, who's my inspiration. I'll be talking a lot about her tonight. I'm also an attorney. I've been a lawyer for 40 years. I own my own law practice here in Waco. I've represented over 6,000 Central Texans. I do bankruptcy work and foreclosure prevention and IRS tax relief, anything with money in the law. And so I represent people in some of the most difficult periods of time of their life. And so I know how to represent people. And I've represented people from all races, religions, sexual preferences, vaccination statuses, political parties. Unfortunately, this district has been represented by someone who just represents a very right-wing side of the party, doesn't listen. And that's just so unlike me. I just can't do that because I've been a lawyer and I know how to represent people, and I'm the only lawyer running. I'm also the wife of a veteran. My husband served in the United States Coast Guard, and I have a tremendous presence as an attorney at Fort Hood Military Installation, which is now Fort Cavazos Military Installation down in Killeen. All those bankruptcies are filed here. But I've represented thousands of veterans and active duty soldiers throughout my 40-year law practice. And so I'm a very big supporter of the military. I'm a former teacher. So all of these issues, I taught over at Baylor Law School. I taught bankruptcy law, which is what I practice. And I also taught at SMU and what's now Texas A&M Law School. So my teaching is on the law school level, but I still know how difficult it is and how poor they get paid. Even at private universities, they were really paying pretty poor, those professors back when I was teaching. And I'm a Christian, and I'm very, very proud of that. In a lot of ways, I think the Republicans think they have sort of a corner on Christianity, and I disagree with that. So why am I running? Well, 25, 26 years ago, when I got pregnant with my 3rd child, the doctor advised me and my husband, John, that we should consider getting an abortion because I was 41 and he was 43, and we had a really high likelihood of having a severely disabled child probably with Down syndrome. And then we faced the most important and difficult decision we've ever made in our lives. And we made the choice to have Rachel. And I now see the world through the eyes of a disabled child. Every time I walk into a room, every time I look at a piece of legislation, everything. And we don't have a voice for the disabled in Austin. And I have fought for Rachel Shank in schools, in hospitals, with insurance companies, with Social Security. I have fought for her in court, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes as well. I've definitely represented her in court. And so I want to be the voice for the disabled in Austin. And I also think my 40 years of being an attorney makes me much more qualified for this position than the other two folks that are running. It is an open seat, and so there are two Republicans running for the seat, and they will be on the primary, obviously, on March 5th. I am unopposed on March 5th, so I'm kind of sitting back and watching them, and then I will go on November 5th against whoever wins, obviously, the primary. But we have been very ineffectively represented in Waco for 20 years by a retired veterinarian that won the furniture award 3 times because, like furniture, he doesn't do anything. So McLennan County has some catching up to do. And that's why I think we need a lawyer. I have 2 degrees in political science, master's degree and an undergraduate degree, and a law degree. And I've been a lifelong student of law and politics. And so here, where I could retire and say, guess what? And been doing bankruptcy 40 years, gonna go home, put my feet up and do some gardening. No, I am ready to work as harder than I've ever worked, representing this beautiful community that I love. I'm center left in a very red community. I'm married to a Republican. And what I think we need to do in McLennan County is bring us back to the center. And John and I, for 31 years, have been in the center, a Democrat and a Republican married. So I know how to represent Republicans and Democrats. And that's what I want to do in McLennan County.
Well, thank you, Erin. That just brings a tear to my eye. As many of you all know, I have a special needs son, and that is the reason why I'm doing all the things I do, so I can relate to a lot of the things that you were saying. So can you tell us very quickly, what are the top 3 issues that you are running on for your district while you're running this go round?
Well, we've all said it before, but the women's health care, the abortion issue, that really has hit home with me, Nancy. And let me tell you about that. When it became very evident to me when the Supreme Court started changing that we were going to lose Roe v. Wade. And so, again, as I said, I have a medically fragile daughter. She has Down syndrome, epilepsy, asthma, a hormonal defect. I mean, just my little train wreck, when I call her. But she's just the love of my life. But if Rachel got pregnant, she was at a very large public high school. Now she's at an adult daycare. She's 25 years old. And things happen. God made us want to be intimate with each other. It happens at nursing homes. It happens in adult daycare facilities. So when it became obvious to me that we were going to lose even the exception for rape, Rachel cannot take any sort of oral contraceptives because of all the other drugs that she's on. And she's on one anti-seizure medication called Depakote that stops her seizures, which is great, but causes major birth defects in any fetus. So a pregnancy for Rachel would be disastrous, and she cannot take oral contraceptives. So I decided it was time for me to permanently make sure that she could never get pregnant because it would be so catastrophic for her and for any grandchild that she would carry for John and I. So I went to a local doctor here, our OBGYN, and explained that I would like a tubal ligation for Rachel. And they totally agreed and said, would be catastrophic for her to get pregnant. The baby would be awfully, malformed. It would just be a disaster. But you know what? You can't, even on her mother and her legal guardian, we will not do a tubal ligation unless you get a court order from a judge. And they also called me hysterical. And they said, well, we will never repeal Roe v. Wade. There will be riots in the street. Well, anybody that knows me, all my friends, anybody watching, I am not hysterical. They call me a lot, but I'm not hysterical. But I said, guess what? I'm not going to argue with you. I'll be back. 3 weeks later, I came back with a court order, and Rachel had the procedure done. I know how to fight for women. I have fought for her, and I want to fight for women of Texas. We are so polarized. This is sort of leading into your question of what are your big issues, but we're so polarized, the Democrats and the Republicans, on the abortion issue. What I want to fight for is, again, that middle ground, because we have to have an exception for the life of the woman. In the legislature, I think they thought they were writing that in, but ask Kate Cox. Yeah, this is the woman that went to the Supreme Court, and she didn't get any help. And that would have been, if Rachel was pregnant, I would have been basically in Kate Cox's position with Rachel. Rachel and I would have obviously been in that together. When that I heard her story, it took my breath away. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I'm like, I know where she is. So we have to fight for that exception. We need to have it if the mother and doctor agree that the woman's life's in danger, or there's going to be any kind of serious thing. They make a decision, and there's never prosecution by Ken Paxton or any governmental official. It's like baby steps. Sure, I'd love to restore Roe v. Wade, but to get there, we need baby steps. We must have a strong life of the mother exception, because you know that what they do is they go after the doctor, the medical license, the hospital, even the aides that are there helping. And so we have to restore that. We also need to restore the exception for rape. 26,000 pregnancies have occurred. That was a report just today, because no rape exception, no incest exception, and no exception for disabled girls. I want to fight for an exception for disabled girls because I have one. So that is why I'm here, because of my little precious Rachel, who I'm watching on a baby cam right now. She's watching a Barney with her puppy. Couldn't be happier, you know?
Okay, so, that's great. So, Erin, tell us where we can find you and how best we can support you right now.
Well, my website is Erin Shank for Texas House, and I'm on all social media, and it's at Erin and then the number 4 TX. So
thank you.
Would love to have donations, would love to have communication. Anybody want a yard sign? All the above. Best way to get in contact us right off the website. Those actually come straight to me. So.
Well, that's great. So, Erin, I look so forward to seeing you on the campaign trail, and I know I'm going to see you. So I'll see you soon, hopefully. Yes. So much.
Thank you so much, Nancy, for doing this. We appreciate you so much.